The all-new WMEG Radio.
When truth doesn't matter anymore.
Good morning. Welcome to The Outsiders. I'm your host, Sean Sims, and I am with my extraordinary co-host, Kim Banks.
Good morning, everyone.
I want to start off by letting the folks know that we have a special in-studio guest. Our first in-studio guest, Marlo Hargrove, CEO and founder of FACE, Freedom Advocates Celebrating Ex-Offenders and Speakers with Sneakers, SWS Youth Outreach Supportive Program. Welcome, Marlo, to the studio.
Grateful to be here. Thanks for having me.
Fantastic. We are going to have an in-depth interview with Marlo about his organization and what they do. Also, we're going to be speaking about, what's been going on. It's been flying under the radar. But guess what? The Outsiders, we picked it up. You're not going to let this little bleep. There was a little bleep that's in the news, and no one's picked it up. I haven't seen it. Maybe someone has, but I haven't heard really much about it, and that's Mayor Scott, a story flying way under the media radar, but the Outsiders, we picked it up, and with all of the attention, rightfully so now, around the Timothy Reynolds and Tavon Scott squeegee shooting and subsequent ruling by Judge Dorsey, with that it's going to stay in adult court, so it's not going to go to the juvenile court system, and also the Democrats losing the House, that's another story, big story that's out there. And you know what? I want to compare. There's been a lot of scuttlebutt about how the Republicans, they were going to have this big, huge red wave that was just going to terrorize the Democrats. And the Republicans would not only take over the House, but the Senate, and it would just be a shellacking. And I'm going to compare that to, let's say, the Ravens were favored by 21 points. Dare I say, 28 points over the Steelers. And I'm just using this as an example. And the game starts, and it looks like the Ravens are going to just beat the crap out of the Steelers, which I love to see. I love seeing the Ravens beat the crap. Actually, I love seeing anybody beat the crap out of the Steelers. But let's say that we had that situation, and then it didn't end up that way. The Ravens didn't trounce the Steelers. And people thought it was going to be a shellacking, but Justin Tucker winds up kicking a last-minute three-pointer. Now, it's not the same situation that you thought was going to happen, that the Ravens were going to dominate, but in sports, a win is a win, whether it's by 3 points. And trust and believe, I've gone through many situations watching the Ravens where it's like a cardiac arrest because you don't know what's going to happen at the last minute. But a win is a win. So let's put things in perspective. People are very upset. Donald Trump announced his bid to make history by being the first person to win the presidency, lose it, then if successful, win it again. Never been done. And you know, with Trump's ego, he's got the ego the size of Montana.
Yes.
With his ego, to do something that's never been done before. You know he, and Kim, I know every time I say his name it makes you cringe.
Yes.
I know it does, but he's put his bid in officially, and with all this news going on, this Mayor Scott story that's flying way under the radar, we're going to talk about that as well. And I also like to give a shout out to an exquisite person and an exquisite event that I attended last night, and that was the birthday party of a good friend of mine, Linda Felder. Linda Felder, dear friend of mine, she did a birthday entrance. It was a scene from Cleopatra. She's dressed as Cleopatra. You should have seen this. It was unbelievable. With the gear on, with the headdress, just like the picture Cleopatra, okay, with Liz Taylor. But she has this red outfit on, and they cart her in. She's on this dais, I guess, and bring her in. It was unbelievable. People taking pictures, and it was something else. And with her organization is the Felder House of Etiquette. It's a nonprofit based here in Baltimore, and for 27 years has given the youth in the community training in fashion and life skills. And maybe she'll come on the show. I kind of whispered it, Linda, you got to come on the show. It's unbelievable. But I'd love to have her on as a guest. And it's really about helping the youth, the young people, which is what Marlo does as well. And they've been getting a lot of negative press lately, but there are positive youth programs and youth out there doing things. And we'll also be discussing the Baltimore City School CEO and how many are calling for her resignation. So that's what we're going to be talking about. But let's get in to what Marlo Hargrove is doing with the Freedom Advocates celebrating ex-offenders. And Kim, I know you got a few questions that you want to ask Marlo, and as Lottie has to say about his organization. So, Marlo, how are things working with that organization?
Well, first and foremost, I want to thank God for this opportunity and for giving me the breath of life to be able to do anything, because matters could be worse.
Absolutely.
I also want to acknowledge my wife, Charmaine Hargrove, who stands beside me through all of this, the chaos, the good, the bad, and or indifferent, to be able to be that voice in the background that's pushing and encouraging me to continue to push on. Sometimes I feel like giving up, but she showed me the sound mind of knowing that what I'm doing is not in vain.
That's right.
And what I'm doing is not for me, but it's for the youth, for those that are out there that used to be me as well.
Yes.
So now I'm feeling compelled to be able to go back in the storm in these poverty communities and to extend supportive services, and not only supportive services, but reliable services that they can depend on, not just for the moment, but for the movement to become better.
Yes. Now, Marlo, you've been in business for about 20 years. How did you come up with the name for your business?
Well, actually, the name of FACE is an acronym which stands for Freedom Advocates Celebrating Ex-Offenders. And it's basically what it entails. Freedom, to be able to have the freedom of speech. An advocate, to be able to speak on the behalf of. And celebrating the fact that we're able to do and be able to be productive members of society. And also ex mean your ex-wife, your ex-girlfriend, your ex-job, and offenders, which simply means to have done wrong. So one way, form, or another, we are all ex something.
Isn't that the truth? Yes, that is so true. Now, do you run your business? How do you run it? Are you just doing everything by yourself, or do you have like staff or like a team in place?
It is a team approach, and we have some supportive providers who gives us the strength, the willpower, the monetary donations to be sustainable. And with the end of 20 years that we've been fortunate to do the work that we do here, mental health, psychosocial therapy, case management, mentoring for the youth as well as adults, and in prisons, and the whole 9 yards. But we have been self-sustainable. We're not broken. You know, we are not begging, but we're building.